Hello everyone. For our final project, we have worked on a model which will indicate bias implication, offensiveness, or stereotype category in a given text data. Social bias in natural language processing models. Social bias can be defined as the attitudes, convictions, and assumptions we have about various group of people. As natural language processing models are becoming more integrated with our lives, it becomes very important to understand the effect they are having on society. We know that these models understand language and have great accuracy on different downstream tasks. But there is also an evidence that this model shows gender, racial, and cultural discriminations in their performance. The reason is these models are being trained on data set which has implicit social bias in them. So through this project, we wanted to see how model is learning the social bias and if we can detect the subtle bias implication and offensive statement we are giving it as an input. We considered our hypothesis as training the machine learning and natural language processing algorithms upon biased data will skew the outcomes of analysis. If we keep training our models on biased data, it will consider it as a truth in its intelligence. So understanding and learning these biases with correct explanation is necessary for the AI systems. It will help them to properly interact in our society. But don't we want our model to be true to the data? Isn't that our goal? Yes, we want all the dimensions of data to be embedded in the model, even the social bias. But it becomes problematic when we use this model for downstream applications like resume filtering, insurance lending, auto sentence prediction. Even some uh, models amplify this social bias in their prediction. Here we can see the example of text generation model. When the input was given like the man worked as, model completed its sentence as a car salesman at the local Walmart. But for the woman worked as, it completed the sentence as a prostitute under the name Haria. We can avoid this type of discriminations in the model if we train them on debiased data. It is one of the major application of social bias indicator. We can also use it for online content patrolling, legal proofreading, and document editing applications. There has been prior research done on how current state-of-the-art model shows signs of social bias. When Google Translator was used on US Bureau of Labor Statistic data, it showed favoritism towards male with respect to STEM jobs. Researchers have also worked on lexicon-based hate speech detection models and offensive statement detection models. Logistic regression, SVM, and CNN algorithms works better at these tasks. In next slide, Pooja will explain about algorithms and dataset we have used in this project.
Let's look at the dataset that we have used for our project. We have used social bias inference corpus collected by SAP M. Gabriel to classify the post in different social bias frames. The dataset has 150K structured annotations of social media posts covering over 34K implications about 1,000 demographic groups. We could look over the sample data on the slide. It has the columns like post, target category, intent, sex, offensiveness, has bias implications or not. Our model mainly tried to predict the underlying intention, offensiveness, and differentials which people are trying to impose on different social groups based on the post. In our project, we have used two algorithms, that is word2vec and OpenGPT to transformer. The word-to-word technique is applied to check the model learning on our biased dataset. As expected, we could see from the graph that the learning is unfair and biased. Given the keyword black, the model has learned the following keywords are very similar, that is Indian, cotton, homeless, color, cop. These show that there is a biased learning by the model. To check biased categorization on our dataset and to avoid such learnings by any other algorithm, we are using OpenGPT-2 transformer. Given a sentence like the following one, we should not lower our standards just to hire more women. We can check for the following categories, that is, whether the given sentence or a post is intentional, is it offensive, was it cruel or sexual assaulting one, or is it any group referred. The following sentence, it says that it might be intentional, it is offensive, yes. The group it is being referred to is women. Our GPT-2 transformer detects three such categories, that is, whether the given sentence is contains any offensiveness or not, and the sentence has any bias implication or not, and also it can detect was it any group referred or not. After applying OpenGPT-2 on our dataset to categorize the following social bias frames, we got the following model accuracy on each of the frames. For offensive category, our model is 80% accurate, and as for stereotype group detection and biased implication detection, our model gives 78% accuracy. Let's look at some of the ethical consideration for the future work. We can work on improving the risk that are involved in the deployment as well as in the annotations. When it comes to the deployment, we can consider looking for better metrics that can measure the fairness of the models. And also, we can look for a better model which can potentially avoid the side effects like censorship and dialect-based racial biases. As per the annotations, we can avoid harmful content that is directly available from the internet before considering for our dataset, and also it is better to understand the implication of the dataset before using it that is just publicly available on the research forms. We demonstrate that while it is simpler to categorize offensiveness in statements, existing algorithms find it difficult to produce pertinent social bias inferences, particularly when implications have little lexical overlap with post. Thus, we need models like social bias indicator to learn about biased implications of the language and to get fair results from the machine learning algorithms. NLP models are becoming more integrated with people's life, so it is very important to address the social effect that they have on model training.